Okay, welcome back. Good to have you back with us. I left off with this and I started carving on the base, and I think I'm going to make a change to this. I think I'm just going to make it just a bandana rather than a body and a bandana and a neckerchief. I think I'm just gonna do something like this just to keep it simple. Let's not gussy this up with a lot of detail things that are going to take us a long time. Let's do something like this. So I'm just going to make that bandana out of this, so it'll take some shaping. In a minute, what I want to do is we'll go out into the garage. Well, I'll make a video to splice in, but we want to take this one, which is completely carved. We're done. We might add a few more details under the eyes or whatever, but I want to make this one and show you what I did with the one I started with. This is the one that I told you I messed up on the video, where I ended up videotaping and then not recorded in slow-mo. Anyway, I worked on that head while the video for this one was loaded, and I got this one done, and I went out of the garage and I did my finishing on it. I added the final details that I wanted to add on it, but I want to show you how that works and the difference it looks like between here and here. I don't know if you can see some of the roughness of that one, but when we do the finishing that I do, we end up with this. But anyway, let's work on this one. What I'm going to end up doing on the base, rather, is I'm going to make it just so it's going to look like a bandana. And so we've got quite a bit of cutting to do, so let's just jump right in and do that right now. I'm going to work on making this narrow, coming down to a point here. And so I'm just going to start it's that hogging part we keep talking about in carving. We are just removing wood. And in this one, I'm going to remove, I haven't decided what's going to be back here at the body, but I know I'm going to go deeper in here so I can make these tails come out. But I'm going to keep backing myself up until I get the point that I want. And I'm just using a rough out knife, whatever size you got to work with. So you can see we've got that shape to it too that we want. So we're just going to come in here and get these hard lines off that we don't want. And in here in a minute we'll have to decide what we're going to do with the back, if we're really going to trim all this back, because I've got a lot more normally than I ordinarily would have here, because you'll see the difference here. I normally cut a lot of that out, but I still got some of it, and we'll figure out what we're going to do. I'm going to grab a fishtail gouge, a big one. I'm going to make a stop cut right in there, and we might just make this one out of several videos and just come to the point where we're splicing 2 or 3 things together, because I think probably most of you don't want to see this. You want to see the finished part, because I think almost anybody can get to this point. We can get to this point where we take off wood. That's not the question. The question is, can we do the finishing part? And that's what throws a lot of people off, because they're not sure where to go after that. And so again, we're just going to take some more of this wood off. I want to cut it both ways. I'm just trying to remove some of that bulk back there that I don't need. So that bulk back here, all this stuff that I don't necessarily need, I'm just going to remove that. So again, ordinarily I'd be up against my chest doing this and have a lot of leverage with my shoulders. I don't have that right now because of the way we're filming, but we'll make it work. Okay, so I'm going to stop the taping here in just a few seconds, and then we'll come back by editing the video and showing you what it looks like when we're done, or when we're getting closer to where we want to be here. But I think the next video I want to show you is how I finish my carvings. If you've been here, subscribe to my channel, you know what I've been doing along the way, because there's not a lot different between how I finish every carving. Doesn't matter what it is. I always finish in the same way. So let's go ahead and do that one, and I'll end this video Then we'll come back. I'll carve some of this off screen, and we'll come back after I've finished that head to show you how we're done. So we'll take a break and go to the next segue. Okay, we're out here in the shop, and I don't know if you can see what I got here, but this is my workbench. We're going to use this tool right here. This is my Dremel. I don't know what brand this is. Dremel 4000. And that's the one we're going to use. This one has a flexible shaft on it. Flexible shaft works to allow me to use a mandrel, which is the metal piece in the middle, and then I'm just using scuff pads. These scuff pads I cut in 1.5 inch pieces and mount them on a mandrel, which has a screw at the top, and it allows me to, it allows me to take that piece right there and put it in the Dremel, and it spins at a whatever speed you want. This Dremel's adjustable speed, so it allows you to spin this. And eventually they get less square and they become more like this, but it allows you to spin that, and it lets me smooth things out. It doesn't sand, so don't think that we're sanding, but it does smooth things out. Wear some kind of eye protection. I use a shield like this because I want to protect my eyes and I want to protect my face. So I don't like breathing those things because those fibers can be a little bit noxious. But anyway, this is going to get noisy, but I'll just demonstrate what I'm going to do. Here we go. And so that's what I would do to make this a little bit smoother. You can't see it yet because I just did a few things back here, but it does make the carving a little bit smoother. It's not sandpaper because you're not removing wood. You're, I've been told, burnishing the wood back to where it needs to be. And so it helps take care of some of these little fuzzies down in the corners that you see, but it also cleans everything up for me. So I know some caricature carvers say don't sand and don't do any of this, it's just cheating, but you know, I look at it like this is your carving, and whatever makes you happy in terms of working. If you use a big knife or a little knife, if you make big cuts or small cuts, if you use flat plane cuts or regular cuts, whatever you do, this is your carving and you need to be happy with it. And so this makes my carvings a lot smoother when I'm done with them in terms of cleaning it up. Now, yeah, you could argue that if you carve clean along the way, but sometimes the wood doesn't let you do that, and sometimes you just don't have the tool to get in there and it chews it up a little bit. And so being able to finish the way you want is key to getting where you need to go. But all right, we'll end this video and we'll go back into the workshop, and we'll finish this baby up and see how it looks when we're done. I think we got one more video after this one. We're going to finish carving the base, and then we're going to paint. So I think we got one more video after this one. See you in a few.
I have moderate to severe ulcerative colitis.
All right, we're back in from the garage. Let me show you what I worked with. This is a mandrel. I'm not sure the size. I think it's a 1/4 inch. So if you have a Dremel or a Fordham or something like that, you need a 1/4 inch collet to fit that. It has a screw that comes off, and what I do is I just take these scuff pads, cut them into 1.5 inch squares, poke a hole for the screw to go down, screw them together as either 1 thick, 2 thick, or 3 thick. The 3 thickness is a little bit hard to get into some of the spots, but it works. And this is what I use to finish my carving. It goes from real rough to looking a little better. So I don't know if you could see the details on here. It's a lot cleaner than it was when I showed it to you earlier. But all it did was just really burnish it and take away some of the little hangers on down in here. It won't get in there unless you go to 1 or 2 thickness of the scuff pad. But it just makes it a little bit cleaner, and it doesn't get back in here in corners like that. So I don't know if you could see that corner back in there where there's a little piece. It doesn't take care of that. You still got to carve a lot of that off. But you know, you could sit here, depending on how well you carve, you could sit here and pick away at it for hours, and that might help you get rid of some of those. But it doesn't take care of everything, and you got to be vigilant about what you're doing, especially if you're giving it away as a gift or if you're going to enter it in a competition or something like that. Anyway, we're back to doing this. I came in and I decided I was just going to go ahead and carve the bandana, mainly because I think most of you can go from what we had, which was a 2-inch wide piece, down to this. It's thinned out in the back. I still need to cut out these lot of saw marks back in here and clean up around the bottom, but I got the basic shape of the base, which is probably where I'm going to leave it right there. I'm not going to add a lot more shape to it. And when I put the head and I put the body together, it fits. This one fits a little loose, and I wanted it a little bit looser around the edge because I wanted to give some room between his neck and his bandana. And so if I were to take another head and put it in there, works just as well. This was the head that I started with. I told you that I had started and then somehow switched my camera to slow-mo, and I got the slow-mo to speed up all the way when I was editing it, but I couldn't get sound. And so this was the head I started with, and I ended up finishing him while I was waiting on all this stuff to load, because it takes, if I do a 45-minute video, it takes about 40 minutes for it to process on the computer. It takes another 15 to 40 minutes to export it. And then I have to upload it to YouTube. That takes, for a 45-minute video, it's about 1 hour and 15 minutes. And then it's got to process on YouTube. So a 45-minute video takes somewhere upwards of 5 hours to get finally into your viewing hands. So hopefully you can appreciate when I'm a little slow on getting some of those. It's simply because I'm still working full-time and still teaching school, and being able to just drop everything I'm doing and do this is a dream for me, but it's not a reality just yet. Anyway, I schooled it, carved it down to where the back has the 2 tails from where you tie it off. And again, you can carve, I'm going to carve in a couple little wrinkles in here with a V-tool, and I'm going to give this knot a little bit of shape so it's not just a knot. So when you tie, I don't know if you've ever tied a bandana, but when you tie a bandana, and then you tie the tails, you got a knot in there. And this isn't a cowboy bandana, but it's a neckerchief, so you kind of get the idea. But when you tie that, you got a lot of intricate parts in here in the knot. So all of this is knot. So you got parts that go under and parts that go over, and then you got the 2 little tails sticking out. In this case, I've got them up here. If this was a true bandana for a cowboy, it'd be much longer than this. They usually try to get them out of silk, and so it'd be a little bit easier to tie. But anyway, you have to navigate that knot, and you have to navigate the tails and add whatever little details you're going to add to this particular base. So that basically concludes our bust carving, and I don't know whether I'm going to get to painting them all today, but I got to paint the bust, and I've got to paint the carving with the mustache, because eventually I'll put it on one carving or something, or I'll put it on something, or it'll go back in the box of heads that I have behind me. There's about 30 or 40 in there I need to find bases for. More than likely, because we're doing this as a video series, I'll finish this one, and we'll end up with a cowboy with a kind of a smile on his face looking this way, and we'll do the bandana. So hopefully you'll stick around. This is video, I think, number 8, and hopefully you'll stick around for number 9, where we'll finally finish this thing. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.